So there we're looking at this, gearing up for this battle at an incredible expense, really just for the right to use the word marriage. Now I get that that is a very important word to an awful lot of our people, so I don't want to diminish that. But I am very concerned at the prospect of raising and spending $40 to $50 million on this campaign, which we may or may not win. Another thing that concerns me is that there is so little discussion within our community right now about the federal court challenge to Proposition 8. This is an informed group here, so you're probably well aware that conservative icon Ted Olson has teamed up with his former opponent in the Florida recount case, David Boies, to challenge Proposition 8. We've already raised the money. It's in the bank. Nobody needs to write checks for that. The first trial is January 11th. If we succeed in getting this to the U.S. Supreme Court, which I think will happen within 18 months, that doesn't just overturn Proposition 8, that it overturns the Defense of Marriage Act and all of those 30-some hateful state constitutional amendments that the Republicans used to such great effect in their wedge campaigns a few years back. So the way I look at it is that a door has opened. And it's this incredible confluence of events and anniversaries, the fact that we're observing the 40th anniversary of the Stonewall Rebellion this year, the fact that the film Milk came out 3 weeks after the 30th anniversary of Harvey's assassination, the reality that Barack Obama's election showed us that real change is in fact possible in this country. And we have a new generation who I think really thought they were free and got slapped upside the head with the reality of Proposition 8. And they are angry and they are determined. And I have been doing these little gatherings all across the country for months now. And everywhere I go, I'm finding young people who are not only going to be there in Washington, but are angry that they weren't taught that history in school, angry that they're not safe in school, determined to win. One of the most moving experiences I've had in the last few months of traveling around was going to a Gay Straight Alliance meeting in Fresno, California. Those of you who don't know California, Fresno is in the middle of the Central Valley. You might as well be in Texas or Oklahoma. It's very reactionary, and it is actually the county with, I believe, the largest vote in favor of Proposition 8. I got invited by a young woman named Robin McGehee, who is one of the co-directors of the March with Young Men and Kip Williams, to speak to a group of LGBT middle school and high school activists in Fresno. And there was, of course, no honorarium offered, and I had to drive 5.5 hours to get there. But I thought, I'm going to go to this. There'll probably be only 12 kids there, but I'm going to go because I can't pass up this opportunity to talk to middle school gay activists from Fresno and Modesto, and there were 300 kids packed into a downtown church. They'd been there the whole weekend. 8 of them were arrested during the Prop 8 aftermath, doing civil disobedience on their courthouse steps. They were 13 to 17 years old. They were overwhelmingly Latino. And they understood that they would have to fight for the right to get married and fight for all of these other rights. But in the Q&A period afterwards, it was very clear to me that the right that they most desperately wanted was the right to go to school and not be beaten and not be murdered. In a town near where I live, there was an 8th grade boy who was executed, sitting at his desk in school, point blank, bullet to the brain, for one reason and one reason only. That boy was queer. So it is my belief that a door has opened, and it will not be easy. March won't do it. Letter writing won't do it. Electing our own won't do it. Electing supporters won't do it. Writing checks won't do it. Going to black tie dinners won't do it. Marching on picket lines won't do it. Getting arrested in civil disobedience won't do it. But if we do all those things, We do them over and over with every bit of strength that we can muster right now. I think we can kick that door all the way open and march through it and win full equality under the law in all matters governed by civil law in all cases. As we do this work, it's very important every one of you can help us. You all have your own networks of people. I want to particularly encourage people to assist us with the coalition building. In previous marches, a great deal of time and energy was spent on trying to forge those coalitions. Today, those coalitions exist, and now it's about activating them. John Winkleman and I, for example, are both members of Unite Here International Union. We're the hotel and restaurant workers throughout the United States and Canada. Our union has taken a clear, unequivocal stand in support of full equality for lesbian, gay men, bisexuals, and transgender people. And I wanted to share a really quick story about our president, John Wilhelm. If you had a picture in your mind of the quintessential straight, white labor leader, you would probably get a picture in your mind of John Wilhelm. When the controversy erupted last year over ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, and the removal of the language that protected transgender people, I got an email from John Wilhelm. His emails are very terse, very, very short, very to the point. He said, "What is ENDA? Why are transgender people upset? And I'm getting an awful lot of mail about this. What should we do?" So I wrote back and I explained this is what ENDA is. This is why transgender people and many others are upset. The original language protected transgender people, and now they've brokered a deal that has removed that language. And I think what would be really great is if our union could come out in support of the original inclusive language. And 12 hours later, I got an email back from John Wilhelm putting our union on record as supporting the original inclusive language. Months later, I was at a conference and had the opportunity to interact with him socially, and I said, John, I was just really puzzled by how quickly you responded to, what in many people's minds is a complex issue, and I was just curious about what led you to that immediate, quick decision on it. And he said, that was a no-brainer. First of all, when we're extending protections, we're protecting more workers. We're doing a better job of protecting workers. That's our job as a union. He said, also, forgive me, I'm a straight guy and I don't know a whole lot about this, but it would seem obvious to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it the so-called masculine women and the so-called feminine men who get singled out for harassment and abuse and discrimination and termination? I mean, the guy just got it. He just understood it. And our union, by the way, negotiated a contract with Disneyland in Anaheim, California that includes transgender protection. So Snow White is safe. Anyway, let me shut up now. And any questions?